Hello, welcome to episode 220 in the Datapack tutorial series version 1.2.1.8. We're going to be converting strings using storage. The string I'm going to use an example is going to be the ID of the item I'm holding. So if we, for instance, look at iron ingot, we can see its ID is Minecraft:iron_ingot. Doesn't look very nice if I wanted to put it in text though. So what we're going to be changing it to is iron ingot, capitalized. We've got a space instead of the underline. I've got a little extra command in there that just checks if some data exists and says I found data. So I've got the same for oak sign, but I haven't put these two in. So if I do one of these, it's just going to say unknown item. It's going to fall back onto a default. And you'll notice it's not saying I found data this time. So that's what we're going to be doing. You probably wouldn't want to use this way to do every item in the game, because we do have to sort of hard code the strings in. And I wouldn't want to do that for every item. But let's have a look at what we're doing, and we can talk about that later. So let's pop off to the Datapack, which is empty now. So if I do a reload, this isn't going to work. So if I reload, nothing happens now. Right, let's go over to the Datapack. Cleanup function you don't have to worry about. All I'm doing there is I'm removing the data that I'm setting up. That just makes it easier for me at the end. So we're doing a data remove ID data string list, because we're going to set up a string list, and we're going to use some temporary data. So later on, when I finish doing this tutorial, I can just run this function and it removes it all for me. Let's go to load, I think would be probably the best place, and set up our data. So I'm going to do, I'm going to use multiple line symbol. So let's copy them. Right, let's do data, modify, storage, ID data, and I'll call it a string list. This is the list we're going to check, and I'll open it and close it. Okay, now I will have one entry. I'll have two entries. Oh, that shouldn't be a full stop. That should be a comma. Okay, they're not happy because they don't have anything in them, I should imagine. Let's have a look, see what it's saying. Expected, closed, but got, yeah. Yeah, okay, so it's not happy because there's nothing in it. If we put some stuff in there, it should be happier. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to split it onto multiple lines like I often do. So let's split that. We'll have one entry there, and then we'll split again, and we'll have another entry there, and we'll split again. And let's put some stuff in here. Inside the first one, I'm going to have in, and I'm going to put Minecraft iron ingot. Well, let's make sure we spell Minecraft right for a start, and we do the underline. There we go. We're doing a good start, and we'll have an out. And the out will be iron ingot. Okay. You still don't seem happy. It's because silly me. We've just put string list. We want ID data string list set value. There we go. Now it's happy. See, it's happy now. Let's copy everything we've got in those brackets and put it into there. And we'll change. Well, notice that we didn't get that done right again. And let's change this one to, what did we have? Oak sign, I think it was. Oak sign. Now you don't have to say oak sign. You can put whatever you like here. For instance, iron ingot. We could say the finger of an iron golem. There we go. We'll do that instead. Why not? Okay, so there's our data set up. What we're going to do is we're going to come and say, hey, does it equal this? If it does, then say this. So that's what we're going to be doing. Let's pop over to holding. Holding is the function that is being run by this command block, and it's running as the nearest player, so it's running as me. So when I use @s, it will be me, not the command block. So let's go to holding. We'll store the item's ID. So we will data, modify, storage, ID temp, item.id set from entity. Oh, we got some good spelling today. @s, and I want my selected item dot ID. So the item I'm holding, its ID. Now we're going to remove the Minecraft. Actually, we'll leave the Minecraft on there for now. Let's leave that on there. Let's keep it simple at first. Function, holding macro, with storage ID temp item, which means the function holding macro will have access to anything after that dot there, so it'll have access to ID. Cool. Let's save that. We'll come back here later. Holding macro. Check if we have an entry. We'll leave that for now. We won't do it. Store a placeholder. We won't do that since we're coming back to things. We'll just do convert the ID and a message. So let's do data modify storage ID temp item new name set from storage ID data, the string, we had a string list, and we'll open and close, and we'll say dot out. Okay, so inside this little open and close, what are we looking for? Well, if I was holding an iron ingot, I would be looking for an in of Minecraft iron ingot. And then we put that into new name. So it's going to come into the load. It's going to say, hey, has anyone got Minecraft iron ingot as an in? It'll say, oh, you have. Oh, great. I'll grab your out then. The finger of an iron golem. So the finger of an iron golem is going to be stored in item.newName. And then we'll do a tell raw. I mean, you do whatever you like. I'll just do a tell raw so we can see it. Tell raw at S. Open and close. We'll have two entries. 1, 2. The first will just be some text. Just a text. Item in hand. That'll do. Next one is going to be storage. So I believe we'll need 2 sets of these. First we'll say storage. We'll attempt to. We'll go for ID temp. Storage ID temp. And then we're going to want the NBT. And the NBT will be item.newName. So I'm just going to copy that as well, actually. NBT item.newName. So if we click on holding, it gets our item and stores its ID in there. And then we pass the ID to holding. Holding says, do you exist? Although we've hard-coded Minecraft ingot. So notice that. We haven't turned that into a macro yet. And then it prints it out. Let's just see if that's actually going to work. So it doesn't matter what I'm holding. Item in hand, the finger of an iron golem. And you'll see it'll say that for everything. Okay, what if I've got nothing in my hand? It still says it. Okay, and that's because we've hard-coded that value. So let's change that from a hard code. So remember, we are passing the ID. So let's get rid of Minecraft iron ingot, and we'll change that to the ID that was passed. And because we're now using past data, we need our little $sign at the beginning. If we go back, reload, let's try it with the iron ingot, finger of an iron golem, let's try it with the oak sign, cool, and these two, oak sign, what about my hand, oak sign, why is it doing that? Well, it's coming in here, and it's sort of saying, well, you don't have an entry, so I'm not going to copy anything. So it's just using the last entry we used. So to get over that, we could store a placeholder. So what we could do is data modify storage ID temp item.newName set value unknown thing. You'd probably want to put unknown item. I'm just changing it up from what it was in the intro. Unknown thing. So we're going to come in here. We're going to set unknown thing there. Then we're going to try and find something with the same ID. If we do find it, we'll overwrite unknown thing. So if we do have it in the list, we should overwrite unknown thing. If we don't have it in the list, unknown thing will stay there. So we should now have iron golem, oak sign, unknown thing, and an unknown thing. And my hand also says unknown thing. Okay, let's go back. Let's do a check to see if data even exists. Or we could do a check to see if the player actually has an empty hand. Let's grab this here, this storage ID data string list in out. Let's grab that bit, because I reckon we could use that. Copy. And let's say execute if data, what we just copied, run, say, the data is there. Save that. Go back. So we're just playing around, really. You wouldn't want to use all of these at the same time, I think. So if we click on iron ingot, did we do a reload? I thought I did. Okay, we don't get anything. We get unknown thing. What have we done? We've obviously made a mistake. Here we go. Look, we're using the ID, which remember we passed in the macro, but we didn't put our $sign at the beginning. There we go. Let's do that. Reload. So, button, unknown thing, oak sign, the data is there, oak sign, iron ingot, the data is there, finger and iron golem. Okay, so what you could do if you wanted, I don't think we need to because we've got the default item, but you could, instead of saying run, you could literally just run return fail. Okay, now this makes this line here pretty pointless because it's going to check if there is data. And we want to do this to an unless. So it's going to check if there is data. And if there is, we're going to keep going. In which case, we'll always copy some data over. So this line now isn't really doing anything. So let's just delete that for fun. There we go. So now, if there isn't any data, it should do nothing. So let's check that. Reload. There is data for that, so yeah, no data for the button, nothing, no data for that, nothing, no data for empty hand, nothing, cool. But maybe you want unknown item, but you just want to get rid of empty hand. Let's see if we can do that, I'm sure we can. Check for item in hand. To be honest, I would probably take this out of here, and there's no point even coming into the macro. In fact, there's no point even trying to store the item's ID if we don't have anything. So we'll just go here. Check for item in hand. We'll do it as the first thing. Execute unless entity at S, unless items entity at S. We're only checking the main hand, so let's do weapon.mainHand is any item run return fail. So now, if they don't have an item, we should just not even bother doing anything. So let's try that. Reload. So, does nothing with an item we know, finger of an iron golem, with an item we don't know, unknown thing. Cool, that's great. Okay, now let's do one extra thing. Let's remove the Minecraft. Because we don't really... If everything has the prefix Minecraft, how many letters is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, let's strip the Minecraft off there. So I think the easiest way to do that would be to data modify storage id temp item.id set string from storage id temp item.id. But now we can have a start and a finish. So if, for instance, if we started at 1, we'd miss off that M there, but I want to remove it all, and it was 10, wasn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So let's start at 10. And then if we want, we can add a finish. So I could say start at 10, end at 11. We're only going to get one letter. So I'm not even going to add a finish. I'm going to say start at 10 and then just go to the end of the word. Now, what we've done is broken it. Because in our data, what it's going to do is it's going to come and say, hey, does anyone have... And remember, we're stripping off Minecraft. So it's going to say, does anyone have iron ingot? And this will say, no, I've got Minecraft iron ingot. So, because we're stripping that off, we'll have to remove it from our in. But if you were going to type a few out, at least now you don't have to do a Minecraft colon every time. And you've learned how to do a substring sort of function. So let's try that. Should work the same. Hopefully it does. Empty hand does nothing. Boink. Iron ingot gives us our string. something we don't know gives us unknown thing. Okay, let's do a little E. What is that? It's a polished blackstone button. That's too long. Let's do command block. Now, if we want to add anything else, we don't have to check any of the code. We can just go into our settings. Let's just copy this line here. Copy. Stick it in there. Remember, they all need the comma, apart from the last one. This one we will just change to command block. It does stuff with commands. I know that doesn't make sense, but that's what I'm putting in there. Okay. Reload. Command block. Item in hand, it does stuff with commands. There we go. So we're checking for a string, and if it exists, if the input string does exist, we send out the output string. Okay. Now, as I said, I don't think you would want to do this for every item in the game, because obviously you would have to have one of these lines here for every item in the game. And that seems very excessive. So maybe you could come up with some sort of iterating thing which came in and said, okay, I'll strip off the Minecraft. Let's do that first. That'll leave me with this. Now I'll go through this and I'll take out, or I'll change any underlines into spaces. So we do one character at a time. We check the I, the R, the O, the N. We do this character. Oh, that's an underline. We change that to a space. Maybe then we go back through and any first letter we change into a capital letter. Then you'd only have to set it up once and it would work for every single Minecraft item without you having to do lots. You just have to work out the little iteration. Well, if you're interested in seeing that, maybe I could have a go at it. Anyway, that's all we're going to do for now. Keeping it quick. I've got a very busy weekend. I will see you soon. Take care of yourselves. Have a great day. Bye-bye.